My name is Janae, as Ms. Joyce just introduced me. I'm glad to be able to take this time with you all today to talk a little bit about a subject that a lot of people, married people and unmarried people, sometimes find themselves in just getting over the month of love and talking a lot about love and relationships. Relationships don't always work out, and when they don't work out, one of the things that we sometimes have to deal with is how we are then going to parent our children if we are no longer a couple together. And what I know is, due to the divorce rate being what it is in this country, many people find themselves in this predicament at times. And we always aren't told healthy and good ways to navigate through that. What I'm going to sit and tell you about today will hopefully give you some skills and ways to navigate through this change when if it ever does come about in your life. And what we always know is, at the end of the day, we hope that we do the very best for our children as they navigate through this. And I will be talking to you as a adult of a divorced parents myself, and as a professional who tends to come across divorcing people and often. And when I use the word divorce, I'm not just talking about co-parents having to be a part of a marriage family, but also if we have kids together, just how we do that as separate individuals, offering our children two healthy parents that are parenting them to the best of their ability. And I'm going to start off by talking about how to do this for our kids so that they have the very best experience. What we know is that conflict tends to come in times of divorcing or separating and living in two different households. And with that conflict, what your children do not need to leave their childhood remembering is the conflict between my two parents that are no longer together as a couple. And a way to do that is by remembering that you are still parents. Co-parenting only means that we are separate parents parenting our children. It is a verb. It is going to go into what your children are able to take from the time of being spent with you as now a single parent. No longer two people living in a household together parenting children, but two separate individuals doing that. And how you respond is going to be the first most important point I want to make today. Children are watching how we speak to one another and each other and them, what we are saying to one another and each other, and how we are living. We know that they are little sponges that watch everything we do. They soak up and learn the ways of living from us. And even if this is a time that is very tough emotionally, mentally, financially draining, what we know is that you have to, as an adult, take care of your own personal needs so that the needs of your children can still be met. They only need parents to be predictable, dependable, and consistent in their parenting in order to fare good in the world. And what you are wanting to do is making sure that you take care of your needs so that you can be that predictable, independent, consistent parent always that they can go to, that they can trust, that they can talk to during this time. Depending on your children's ages, they're going to need a different amount of care in terms of some kids, teenage years, I just need you to listen to me. Younger children are going to be asking you questions and what just happened to mommy and daddy? Why are you no longer together anymore? Do you not love me anymore? Because they might often hear their name in that conflict. And what we know is we do not want them to associate any part of separation or living in two separate households as being their fault or part of what they did. We have to reassure them that this is a decision that two adults have come to because they can no longer live together, but this does not change up the parents that they are able to be and to their offspring. And one of the other things we also know is that things are different now. Before, when they would see mom and dad have arguments, they might know that those arguments resulted in mom and dad working it out, getting back to, everything going back to normal. Adults have conflict. Conflict is worked out and worked through. But in divorcing or separating situations, those conflicts are no longer sometimes worked out, and you are now having to take a different stance and no longer trying to fix it with the ex partner, but trying to make sure that what we are doing are what's in the best interest of our children. And to do that, you're going to have to take off what we call sometimes the wounded spouse hat, and you are going to have to put on the parent hat and stay in a place of always providing your children with a ear to talk to, someone to listen, someone to still discipline me, someone that guides me and also does that through taking care of their self and their own needs. You're going to want to make sure that you are holding your kids' confidence at hand. If they're coming to you and explaining to you about the change that they're going through now that they are having to navigate in different households, pack up a bag every week and go from one house to the other, which I know for a lot of our children that I counsel, that is the number one problem or inconvenience that they have, to no longer have parents in the home together. The fact that all of my life has to stop for a moment, be put in a bag, and me go somewhere else for a couple of days before returning to my residence. Because of that, and because of the change that we're asking kids to adapt to, please make sure that you are keeping that communication line open with them and giving them, listening to them with empathy and knowing and then reminding them that you know that this is hard for them. But this is the unfortunate consequence to parents no longer living in the same household. And it is our job to make that the easiest for them to navigate through by making it comfortable. Making it comfortable comes in parents not talking bad about the other. What we know is our kids see themselves in you and see you in themselves. We all are made up of the two people that we came from. And when we look in the mirror, we are sometimes reminded that we are absolutely of those two people because we can see that as we look at ourselves. And if you are hearing negative remarks made about a person that you are made in the image of, it can absolutely affect your self-esteem. So I even say at times in conflict where you cannot even see the good in a person anymore because they have upset you or hurt you to places that you never thought that you could feel pain, please still try to find good attributes in the person that you have had children with, and remind your children of those good attributes, whether it be your beautiful eyes like your father or mother, or your infectious smile, and your brilliance and grace that you may have that is like the other parent. Please try to comment on those things so that your child's esteem at this time is not um, hindered through the process of divorcing or separating that you might have went through. Always try to remember that we also need to remain age appropriate as we talk to our children, knowing that kids are not needing to know all of the details or all of the information behind your decision to separate. They are just needing to know that they are loved and that love does not change. They are not able to handle at certain ages certain information. I tend to advise people that when you are one that is asking questions, and that child is coming to you with certain questions, try to seek out knowledge and information on how to answer those questions the best way with not getting them involved in your conflict. Also being able to say to your children, why is that important to you? Why do you need to know that? they should not know all the gory details of the reasons that you and their parent are not working out. They should be able to be kids and still take care of their own needs and not their parents. So that's also what I mean when I say, please don't wear the wounded spouse hat, is just trying to make sure that you're always staying in your parent role. Another area that I know I want to touch on today is when we move from now being a parent together with another parent under the same household. Often one person takes on the role of disciplinarian and the other person might take on the role of nurturer. And we don't usually discuss who is going to take on which position. We usually fall into them based on the way we are raised, our personalities, or strengths of the other person. And now that you are a single parent trying to navigate through the world with your child or children alone, in terms of your parenting, you have now got to put on both hats. You are no longer just the nurturer or just the disciplinarian. You are now having to play the role of both, because what we know is our children fare much better if they are getting nurturing and discipline when they need it as we direct them through life. And we are no longer going to look to that co-parent for the need of disciplining children when they get in trouble and saying, I have to call your dad or your mom in order to for them to talk to you about what just happened. Because then what we do is we take away our power and we let the child know that there's something that we can no longer handle. And we need to let them, we remember, are always trying to be predictable, dependable, and consistent. So we want them to get from us that, you know what, mom or dad is going to handle this and they don't need someone else to help them do this any longer. And that is what I know is some of the shifting. While children have to shift and packing their bags from week to week, parents have to shift in playing another role that they weren't necessarily geared up to play as they're now trying to make sure that their household runs efficiently. There is lots of information and resources out there on co-parenting. I know here in both Gwinnett and DeKalb County, we have the Center for Navigating Family Change that provides a lot of information and co-parenting tools and toolkits that can help you in navigating through this tough process. But what we always want is to keep the conflict down as much as possible. I'm going to go into sometimes how we communicate with one another. If you're at a baseball game, and I'll just tell you this little scenario that might help you be able to picture what I'm talking about. But conflict is not just the arguments or the yelling or the name calling that we might get in with the other parent that we are no longer getting along with, but it also comes in the gestures that we might do. For instance, you're at the baseball game and your children, one is out on the field and the other two are sitting beside you at the game. And you get a text from mom or dad while you're at the game, and they're asking you a question, and it's the 20th time they've asked you this question, and you might roll your eyes or smack your teeth or suck your teeth and have a reaction to that text. And one of the things we know is that the conflict that they might get in actually comes at just the fact that you just made a facial gesture or a sucking of the teeth of contempt look on your face that automatically puts your child in the middle of the conflict, because now they see how you react to that other parent that they love, and it is not in a way that really shows them that we still respect the other parent. So we ask that you please try to keep in mind how you are responding, not just verbally, but also with gestures to the other parent. We want the parents to be able to do what's best for the kids by being just respectful and civil. Not be friends, not be best friends, not necessarily have holiday time together anymore, but be able to exchange children in a manner that promotes just healthy for your child, and them seeing that parents can be adults, remove their feelings from the situation, and do what's best for them. Because at the end of the day, they are what we're doing it for. I would just challenge you, if you are in this kind of predicament and going through this, watch how you text, what you say in your text, leaving it as concise and short as possible. Only stating what your request is and giving information to the other parent about children only, keeping all other feelings, all other emotions, all other communication to a halt, as we are no longer trying to fix the other parent, get our needs met anymore. We are just trying to meet the needs of our kids. And that's also through the emails that we send, everything, if you can try to just gear to a business-like manner, in which you are talking to this other parent now, no longer trying to meet relationship goals, just meet the goals of that you would as you go into work every day, and communicate with your bosses and coworkers in a way that is civil and respectful. That is the same thing that we are challenging you to do as you navigate through the co-parent relationship. Um, when conflict arises or come up, dealing with that conflict in a way that just keeps your children out of the middle, never sending them as messengers back and forth between you and the other parent, utilizing resources and supports of family members, professionals, even if you have to. And professionals, I mean counselors or parent coordinators, people in the community that are trained to help people navigate through conflict and learn how to negotiate. That is what I would challenge and hope that you all could do for your children. Also, watching and creating safety for your kids. We want kids to know that no matter what they are feeling, they can share it with you, even if it's going to be hard, even if it is, Dad just got a brand new car, Mom, and we went riding in it. And Mom might be upset that she's still in her old hoopty, that she can barely get gas money to get in. You're still going to try to listen to that child's story. And I know I'm asking you to do a lot right now, but listen to that story in a way that reminds people that, you know what, my parents at the end of the day just care about me and what I have to say, not about each other anymore. Please text your questions to 770-242-0001 if you have them now. As we tie up this meeting, I will be answering questions that we may have. And please feel free to text them during this. Also, we want you to know that we know that this is usually a hard time for parents, and I just want you to take care of yourself. Notice if you might be in the need of counseling, time with friends. Don't isolate yourself if you are going through a divorce or divorcing or separating from someone or relationship. As relationships are one of the most important things that we have in life. It is, when it goes wrong, it can be one of the toughest time, and people tend to not want to share, to isolate themselves, to stay away from people. And I would just encourage you to share your story, talk with others who can relate, get into support groups that are offered all around town if needed. And I know there's things like divorce care at most churches that meet on a weekly basis to help people navigate through the grief and loss associated with change of marriages and relationships. But please do not isolate and keep to yourself, as it just is usually helpful to have people that can help you navigate, listen to you, and take care of you so that you can get to the job of parenting, which, as we all know who are parents, never stops. It doesn't wait for us sometimes to feel great and wonderful before we still have to go and do the daily things of life. But listen to yourself, listen to your body, listen to your mind, and make sure that you do so in a way that creates a safety place for you and yourself and for kids to be able to come to you. That is really the focus of what I wanted to get across in this message today, and just hope that you all got something from some of the tips that I might have given in terms of communication, dealing with conflict, balancing your discipline and nurturing, being a single parent that we may have not ever expected to be, but doing that in a way that's healthy for both ourselves and our children.